Hi, I think we're live. I had to change programs this morning because my regular Facebook program would no longer take care of my camera. So we're trying this and I'm hoping we're live. If anybody's on here, give me a wave, let me know you're here. I don't even know in this new system if you can actually see that. Maybe I should be on my phone as well so I can actually see what's happening. So if you don't mind. So we're talking about confidence today. We are talking about how to grow your confidence and through that also growing your business, because this is what we're all in this group for, to grow our businesses. And my name is Elsa Johnson. I'm a clarity and mindset coach. And one of the things that I've found in business is confidence is such a funny thing. You know, sometimes we have it, sometimes we don't. But it influences everything that we do, everything in our lives. It really is. Oh, I see Lauren is on here. Hi, Lauren. Good. Then at least I know it's working. And so confidence is the misconception about confidence. Let me start there, is that either you have it or you don't. Or confident is a special group of people. They're also the confident. They're over here. They're the confident kind, and I'm over here. I'm not a confident person. But that's not really true, because we're all born confident. You know, when you're a child, you scream and you get everything confidently that you need. As you grow older, things influence it, and we start thinking that we can't have what we want or we can't do what we want because we are not confident. But there may be other factors. So I'm the last one here in this week of series, which has been a great series. I just need to look at my notes here because I don't want to mess the people up. So we had Rebecca talking about mindset, and mindset is extremely important in our business. And what mindset really means is just the way we think of ourselves in relationship to other things, in relationship to people or to the events that have happened in our lives, and how we act out. Second of all, then we heard about our quirkiness from Heather, that be you, be truly you, who you are, own it, live it, and make yourself unique. And not make yourself unique, but let your uniqueness show so you come across as really authentically who you are. And that's important too in confidence. Then we had Joanne that talked about how do we grow. She was talking about the relationship building. How do you build your relationship? How do you build in that everybody that you come in contact with are really there to support you and you are there to support them? How is that all authentic? Then yesterday we had a great presentation by Sharuk about how to grow your relationship through Facebook groups without being sleazy. Let's just, put it out there. So all that goes together. How are your confidence? And how do you build it? So how am I going to go about doing this today? We will first talk about what is confidence. Second off, what influences our confidence? And thirdly, how can you grow it? How can you become better? And also, what are the areas where confidence really can sort of wreak havoc with your life? I want to start with a little story because I think it can give you a thought of how it influences all areas of our lives. Actually, I'll give you two stories. The first story is when I was probably in my mid-20s, a person that I known for quite a while that I thought knew me really well, he said to me, wow, I'm just so amazed by your confidence. And I was blown away because that was not how I saw myself. I did not see myself as a confident person. I was shaking in my boots a lot of times and feeling that I couldn't do anything. But another person looked at me as if, wow, I was confident. So that's number one. How do other people perceive you? The second thing is, last weekend I was out biking with my husband, and I have been biking since I was a kid, since I was just a toddler. I kid that I was always born riding a bike. But one thing I've never done in my whole life is ride without my hands on the handlebars. Every time I started, I would shake and I would feel like I'm falling off my bike. And I felt so insecure. I feel so, I'm going to fall, I'm going to crash. I can't do this. But then on Saturday, we were on a nice paved road and I said, dang it, I can do this. I lifted my hands off the handlebars and I just a little wobbly at first, and then I just started riding. And I felt so free. I felt like, what was all the fuss about? Why did this happen? Why had this happened for so many years that I was really, really nervous about riding without my hands on the handlebar? So you might say that has nothing to do with business, but I will tell you it has everything to do with business. Confidence, what is it? Really, at its very, very core, it is the trust and belief in yourself that you can successfully do what's right in front of you. So me riding the bike for many years, I never had the trust in myself that I could actually lift my hands off the handlebars and ride the bike. I didn't have the belief that this was something I was capable of doing. So when you see that, you can see that it's really a matter of your brain is, telling you not to do something. And then your emotion sets in. And that goes back to what Rebecca talked about on Monday. The stories that's going on inside our house, inside our head, not in our house, but maybe in our house too. But what are we telling ourselves? How are we telling those stories? Why are we telling ourselves these stories? As I mentioned before, when you are just a little infant and you can cry and you can get your needs satisfied, you believe that is what you have to do. The crying is what you know how to do, and it will give you the results that you want. So you can have confidence in that. As you start growing and become a little bit older, then people start putting limitations on that. The cry doesn't work anymore. You're told, no, you can do this yourself. Or then you're told, no, don't do this or don't do that. Oh, you shouldn't be doing this. Girls are not good at math. Boys don't cry. People start telling you all these things that you should do or shouldn't do or can do or can't do, even though it is more reflection on them than it is a reflection of you. And that comes back to my biking experience, that I didn't believe in myself that I could ride the bike without my hands on the handlebars. Of course, there's always times where I shouldn't do this, but in this particular incident, I couldn't. That also influenced my relationship with my husband or my children when they were biking. And they were trying to show off, hey, see, Mom, I can ride without my hands on the handlebars. My relationship then was, oh, don't do that. That's scary. You'll fall off the bike. I wasn't commenting on something that they could or couldn't do. I was commenting on the beliefs that I had for myself. So my relationship with my husband and my children was, I was putting limitations on them, limitations that I had set for myself. So let's see, now that you sort of know how that whole thing gets influenced, let's see how you can actually build upon that and build in your business and seeing how can you start growing your confidence. And that goes back to that belief and the trust in yourself. When you're in your business or in your personal life, start feeling that feeling of, oh, I don't dare do this. I am scared to do this. Who am I to do this? Then you need to stop. The first thing you do is stop. Take a couple of deep breaths, and just saying, why am I saying this? And again, going back to what Rebecca was saying on Monday is, I remember she was saying something about your physiology. You feel it in your body if you're not confident. Sweaty palms, heart pumping. You feel that I am not a confident person right now. So what do? As I said, stop is the very, very first thing. You really stop. Write down, if you're able to, but at least in your mind, mentally say, what am I feeling? What am I feeling right now? That's number one. So now that you know what you're feeling, you sort of put that aside and say, okay, I'm feeling this. Number two, you just said, what am I thinking? And that goes back to the influences that we have. Why are you thinking that you cannot do this? Have you not successfully completed this task in the previous times? Has there been a time where you failed at this? And not only did you fail, but maybe somebody that you loved and trusted or admired were ridiculing you or were putting you down because you didn't do it. So that goes into what you're saying to yourself. What is that story that you're telling yourself? Maybe you've never done this task before, so you don't know. You don't know how to do this, so you don't feel confident. And of course you don't, if you never tried it before. But that doesn't mean that it's your confidence that needs to suffer here. It means that you need to look and say, how can I go about doing it? And that comes a little bit later. But identify from your thinking, what is it really that I'm thinking? What is it that I'm thinking and why I can't do this? And especially in our business, one of the things that really comes in huge as in this particular area is what a lot of people call the imposter syndrome. Who am I to do this? All these other people are doing it so much better than I am. Look at this girl, she just posted on Facebook that she had made so much money, or she had got so many clients, or she had done this or that. Is that what your story is about in your head? Is that what you're telling yourself? That everybody else can do it 10 times better than you can? No, they can't. Because as you remember, Heather was telling you earlier this week, embrace who you are, embrace what you do, and people will follow that. And even when it's something new that you haven't done before, that is, as long as you do it from your perspective, start researching. Who can I ask? Who can I ask how to do this? Not their way, but understand how have they done it, so I can adjust it to me. I hated Facebook Lives. I hated everything social media before I started this. But it was also because I could go on there and see people who have done it a million times and they look so flawless. Then somebody told me, just push the button and go live. Right? I'd never done it before. When I lifted my handlebars off my bike 2 weeks ago, I felt I've never done this before. But I had constantly had the example right in front of me, my husband riding there without his hands on the handlebar. The second thing that you can do when it's something new is saying, what's my fail-safe here? What do I do if I don't know how to do it? For me, on the bike, I just grab the handlebars again, right? And I would be safe. I would be perfectly fine. In your business, when you're taking on a new endeavor, figure out what are the steps that I take. What are the things that I can measure myself of, am I actually doing this right? Find a mentor, run it through the mentor, asking, how can I do this? How do I do that? We have Lauren here, who's a great business mentor for you. If there's something you're so unsure, reach out to her and reach out to the group. People are there when there's things that you don't know. because that's how we build it. That's how you build that trust and that belief in yourself. The last thing I want to talk about, how you can look at it too, is I want to go back to the imposter syndrome, because so many people I talk to are really held back by the imposter syndrome. They're really constantly comparing themselves to other people. And not only is that a matter of not knowing how to do stuff, just afraid to show up. Sometimes it's also a matter of, am I really worthy of this? Am I really the person who deserves to do this? And that really goes back to what Rebecca was talking about Monday. What are you thinking about yourself? What is the value you are putting on yourself? And if you do not put a value on yourself and your amazing genius, your quirkiness, how you show up in groups, how you show up in life, how you show up in relationships, that has a value, then your confidence is always going to suffer. So I know these are pretty deep kind of areas that I touch on here, but it's really important. So let me get back to where I first started saying, how can you start building your confidence? Because this is where, you just sort of have a little checklist in your head saying the first thing is, I said, how is your physiology? How do you feel? Is your heart pounding? Is your palms sweaty? What do you feel? Maybe you get a knot in your stomach. Those are some of the very typical signs. The other thing may be restlessness, getting up, going out, eating, get away from what you're doing. That can be good, but don't use it as a distraction, never to come back. The second thing is, what are my thoughts around that? What is going on in that little voice in my head that tells me why I can't do that? Write those down. Even if you can't do it now, write it after you're gone through this. Then the next one is, what are my excuses? Oh my God, we have excuses galore, don't we? Oh, I don't really have time right now. Oh no, this is not really so important. I don't really think I should do this in my business. Or I don't want to go to that party anyway. Those girls, I don't want to hang out with them. Throughout our lives, we have learned to do a lot of excuses for us not wanting to show up and be confident in what we're doing. I get it. I absolutely get it. But that's a way of diversion. And how does that show up in our lives? It shows up as, a lot of people say, oh, I'm a procrastinator. Well, procrastination is many times just an effect of you lacking in your confidence. It's a sign that I don't really want to do it because I don't know how to do it. I'm afraid to do it. So those three things, look at that. How are you physically feeling? What are you telling yourselves, and your excuses? So those are three things. How do we then start? And oh, sorry, I forgot the imposter one too. I am not worthy. I'm not worthy of this. So I want you to, after you have thought about these four things, start looking at it and saying, is there really proof for what I'm saying? Is there proof that everybody else is better than me? Probably not. They may be better at what they're doing in that moment, but everybody started the place. You have to compare yourself to somebody who is exactly where you are at. Oftentimes we compare ourselves with people who are way ahead of us. And that's not a fair comparison. Then you're comparing oranges and apples. Do you have the abilities? Do you know how to do it? If not, how can you prove, how can you get those abilities? Check with a mentor. So for everything that you write down that you know that's why I'm not confident in those 4 areas, you start looking at what is the opposite of that. Either, is that really a truth? And if it's a truth, how can I correct it? I don't know enough. Fair enough, you don't know enough. Find out how to do it. Ask somebody. Go on YouTube. Find a Facebook Live. Find a mentor. I have failed before. Okay, that's fair. Why did you fail? Maybe it was because you didn't do the other 4 things I just mentioned. Maybe it was because you didn't really have the heart into it. Be open and honest with yourself, because if you're not going to grow in your confidence. So let's bring it all back to how does that influence your business? Of course, confidence in your business is important. But growing your confidence personally automatically grows your business, because you start showing up differently. You start showing up knowing that, yes, I may not know how to do this. Yes, I may at the moment not be 100% the best person to do this, but I will do my damnedest to find out how to do it. I will do anything in my power to figure it out. And that's where the trust comes in. I trust myself to figure this thing out. That doesn't mean I trust myself to do everything myself so I can figure it out. It means I trust myself to figure it out. And the figuring out thing may be seek help, read, study, research. Once you start that, then you can start building on the belief that you can actually do it. You start small, like me, just lifting gently my hands off the handlebars, maybe 5 inches, and finding my balance and knowing that I could do it, or lifting up all the way and feel like, wow, this was so freeing. And then I knew next time my husband were doing the same thing, I didn't have to be nervous on his part. And that's the bonus of everything. When you start believing in yourself, you don't start questioning other people, why they're doing stuff. You also start understanding that their circumstances can be very different from your own, because you know how much work you have put into it yourself, and you know they would have to do the same thing. So if people complain that you're not good enough, you know you put the work into what the quality is. And you are you, like Heather mentioned. When you show up in Facebook groups, you know you show up because this is who you are, and you know what you can do. So I hope that these things have given you some thoughts of how you can actually grow your confidence. I really hope that it's also given you an opportunity to examine that pattern of thoughts that is going on in your head. And realize that's what's dictating it. It's not the situation, it's your thoughts that you have around it. It is how you actually show up. It's what you tell yourself. It's what people have told you in the past. And know that once you start breaking it apart and look at it honestly, identify what's going on, your physiology, your emotions, your state of mind, and start looking and saying, why is this happening? The last little piece of advice I would give you when you do that is start looking back, and this is a really, really long process. And if you really come into some big areas where you say, oh my God, this one hurts, reach out to me. I will be happy to talk with you a little bit more about that, is because once we start this work, especially in the confidence, we might start poking into something that happened to us in the past that we sort of need to clear out of the way. Because we might have got stuck in that thing that you can never do this, or you're not good enough for that, or you're not worthy enough for that. And that can take a little bit longer. But even in that particular area, start by disproving your own thoughts on that. Because you are worthy. You are enough. And you're amazing, and your genius needs to be seen by the world. You know, your uniqueness needs to be seen by the world. You have to trust yourself. I trust and believe in you that you can accomplish anything you set your mind to. Because you have the tools. You're here in this group. You're surrounding yourself with people who can actually help you. Get on the way. Not be you, but support you, who you are, and get to where you want to go. It's been a pleasure talking with you all here today. I hope you will reach out if you have any questions, either in the group or message me. I would love to talk to you. And I hope you have a beautiful weekend. And I will see you around the group. Bye. Have a great